You're not tuned into something super tight. Puffin' something sticky, nigga, I roll through the light. Need to hear something real just to get me through the night. I'm looking for them jackets cause I know they looking shy. Know I'ma get some game tuned in with super tight, yeah. I get the low love from Big Bobo, from the front seat, not no photos.
Already, baby, what it do is Super Tight TV. You got your big dog Bobo Luciano in the house. I got my sexy ass, gorgeous, beautiful wife.
Hey, it's your girl Jazzy K.
We in this building, man. We got a real super tight, I was going to say super tight guest.
You can.
No. Super tight family member.
There we go.
That's super tight part of the show.
That sounds
We're going to do it like that?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to do it like this. We're going to switch things up. We're not going to interview nobody. We just really going to have a, you know how we do. We have regular conversations with our family members. We don't want y'all to get lost in the sauce, but we want y'all to just kind of follow along with us. But we don't want to only be about the music industry. We don't only want to be about the entertainment industry and sports and things like that. We want to really attack the black community and the minority community, you know, see what we can do to move the needle a little bit. And so I'm just going to, you know, shut it down for myself and kick it to my beautiful wife and let her get this thing started. You ready, baby?
I'm ready.
Let's do it.
All right, y'all. So this show, we're going to be dedicating to mental health awareness. So we're going to be doing a lot of talking about mental health today. And we have a special guest. We have Miss Fantasia here. She is an advanced practice registered nurse who is board certified in psychiatric mental health nursing, as well as family nurse practitioner. Okay. After earning her bachelor's degree, she's worked as a nurse for 10 years in the operating room and went on to pursue her master's degree. She spent several years working as a nurse practitioner with diverse patient populations in both the public and private sectors. So welcome, Fantasia.
Hey. Welcome to the family.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Already.
You're looking good.
Nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you too.
Already.
So today on the show, we just really wanted to, because we both have a passion about mental health, depression, you know, and just spreading education and awareness about that in the black community. So we thought, you know what I mean, we have my girl on here. This lady is a wealth of knowledge, okay? So we're going to pick her brain today, and we're going to talk about, well, first, before we get started, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh,
Where are you from?
Oh, I'm from Dallas.
Hey.
Born and raised in Dallas.
Oh, really? What part? You can't just say Dallas now.
It's really Dallas proper. Honestly, it's Dallas proper.
What that mean? I mean,
you know, like
you got to act like we from
Seagoville
the
area, Balk Springs area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, we from the hood. You know, some people might not know what that is.
Well, listen, I'm just telling you, I spent a lot of my weekends right over off in Highland Hills, right off of Bonneview.
Okay.
So,
there we go. So, what made you want to go into mental health nursing?
So I was a family nurse practitioner for several years, and I was working in homeless outreach. And so, as you can imagine, there's lots of mental health issues in the homeless population. So I saw a need and wanted to be able to take care of my patients. And so I went into mental health, and I like mental health, honestly.
Yeah.
I've always loved mental health. But I just wanted to make sure I expanded my knowledge and was, equipped to take care of my patients.
Awesome. So, from your experience, let's talk about misconceptions. Okay, let's talk about a lot of common misconceptions where I guess we'll focus in on depression.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Depression.
Yes.
What are a lot of misconceptions that you hear?
In particular for the black community, I'll be honest, I struggle with this a little bit professionally and personally because I have to start out by saying I know that we, as black people, we always say we're strong, we're resilient, and we're all those things. So personally, I know this to be true. How can we not be all those things given our history?
Absolutely.
But professionally, we are not invincible. We're not where we are padded away from being depressed, or insulated away from being depressed, or having any mental health disorder for that matter.
Yes.
I think the misconception is that you're not depressed. You'll get over it, or you can do it, or you don't need you don't need mental health services. Those types of things. There's lots of misconceptions about.
And you do hear that a lot in Black families. Y'all need that medicine. They just want to put you on medicine. They just want to.
Can you kind of explain what depression is to people,
So anytime I talk about depression, I'm going to go from literally diagnostic to, criteria. Okay. So we have our diagnostic criteria, but it's several things, but feeling down, depressed, hopeless, helpless,
yes.
Having crying spells, sometimes people have appetite disturbances, you eating too much. Some people say I'm a stress eater, when sometimes they mean when they feel depressed, they eat too much. Some people don't eat at all.
Yes.
Irritability, kind of being easily annoyed, poor focus, concentration, sleep disturbances. There's several boxes that you can check, but everybody may not experience depression the exact same way. So that's why it's kind of like you have to meet criteria based upon if you meet enough of these symptoms.
Are those traits?
More like symptoms.
Symptoms, okay. And depression, is that kind of more like a chemical imbalance or anything like that?
So it's interesting you asked that question, because we used to say this is a chemical imbalance. And so without getting too deep in the weeds, more studies are starting to kind of surface that it's not necessarily a chemical imbalance. But we used to think that it was a chemical imbalance. I'll be honest with you. I think right now the studies suggest we really don't know.
Wow.
We really don't know. If there's some type of chemistry in the brain that causes depression. We really don't know. But historically, yes, we said it was an imbalance of, neurotransmitters, serotonin, dopamine, norepinephrine, all these different neurotransmitters that we thought caused depression.
But is that a part of it? Because I know a lot of the medications have to do with those neurotransmitters.
So here's the tough part about medications and for mental health in general. And this is probably not very reassuring, but sometimes we don't even know how or why the medications work. We just know they work.
Hey.
Yeah, so that's the tough part about it. But yes, that they work on those chemicals and in the brain, and really that's probably the best we have between that and therapy.
Gotcha.
To treat depression.
Wow. And so, as far as depression, so in your practice, are you seeing more people come forward with symptoms of depression? Do you think depression is more prevalent now, or that there's just more education out about it now?
This is a tough one, because I think it's a little bit of both, to be honest. I think, without getting too far in, I think just the way things are now in society, I do think that people are more depressed. And then you look at certain things, inflation, or if you have high unemployment, rates, those types of things. I think all of that can, COVID. I saw a lot of people come, through the clinic, during COVID, because you're isolated, you lost your job, these types of things. You're at home, you're trying to homeschool and work, which is almost impossible for some people. Like, how are you going to homeschool your child and you're trying to work, even if it's remotely? You saw a lot of people lose childcare, access to childcare, daycare, those types of things. So I saw a lot of depression come through COVID, and we're still in that actually, but I saw a lot of that.
Oh, wow. Okay, now one thing I do want to touch on too, because you hear a lot in the news, there have been several celebrities that come forth and are open about their struggles with bipolar depression. Okay, we've had Jennifer Lewis. She wrote her book. She was very open about it. Everyone's heard about Kanye West and his struggles with bipolar. But I think because of that it's kind of this sensational, and I think people use the word bipolar
loosely.
Yeah, like, oh, you're upset. a lot. You're bipolar. Like, let's kind of touch on that and educate people on what bipolar is and isn't.
So bipolar is just like, the standard major depression disorder. So it has its own set of diagnostic criteria. Okay. Now, what I'll say about this is, without knowing them personally and their own situation personally, it's difficult to say, do you really have bipolar disorder or not? The reason why I say that is because sometimes you can expose yourself to certain things, certain substances, and it'll look like bipolar disorder, but it's not bipolar disorder. And so we have folks who self-medicate. We have lots of, stuff on the streets, and that it'll look like schizophrenia, it'll look like bipolar disorder, but it's not. It's substance induced. Yeah. And if you stop the substance, sometimes the symptoms resolve. But what we are finding is that even after you stop that substance, you can still have those symptoms. And so you permanently have those symptoms. Even though it wasn't bipolar disorder beginning, you kind of broke your brain.
Wow.
If that makes any sense.
Yep.
By the drug use?
Yeah.
Wow. What drugs, you say self-medicated, now I go straight to drugs, it could be alcohol. What drugs do you see prevalent in people
that have these spells
that they run to? Well, I know it could be several, but from your experience.
When she asked particularly about bipolar disorder, bipolar disorder, you can have depressive episodes and you can have what we call manic episodes. Okay. So manic mania, basically, you don't sleep, you're impulsive, those types of things, racing thoughts, you're not, those types of things. Euphoria, almost inflated self-esteem. I mean, those people are really high, right? Okay. They're up here, mania. And then the depressive state, you're all the way down, right? Now I'm depressed. Now I'm, all those depression criteria we talked about earlier, that's your depressive state. It depends on the drug.
Got you.
If you usually are, if you're abusing something like an upper, cocaine, crack cocaine, those types of things, you can see manic. It looks like mania.
Got you.
It can look like mania. You don't sleep, right? And then you have, like you said, alcohol. Alcohol is depressant. You can have people literally drink themselves into depression.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. Yep. And K2, when K2 came out, I'm going to tell you.
People was tripping off that K2.
K2 hit the streets, and I remember at first it was sold in like cigar shops, like smoke shops and stuff. And I would see kids, kids would come in, and these kids were perfectly okay kids. I know these kids were okay, right? And then they started kind of picking up this K2, had access to the K2, and then all of a sudden they're depressed, they're in, class, zoning out, not paying attention, sleeping, all kinds of stuff, moody, irritable, had behavior problems that they never had before.
Wow.
So,
all from smoking potpourri. Because usually that's what it looked like. Wow.
That's crazy. And so, focusing again back to bipolar, what are some of the symptoms that, if someone's sitting at home wondering, am I bipolar or am I, what are some of the things they should be looking for? I know you don't know them personally, but taking out substance abuse and taking out, what are some things that are red flags that may tell them you need to go seek
their family members need to be looking for.
Yeah, you need to seek further treatment.
So first and foremost, one big thing is if you don't sleep and you have lots of energy, like you just don't need to sleep.
Wow.
You just have lots of energy. You can go on and on like the Energizer Bunny.
Yes.
That's probably one of the first things we go, okay, why are you not sleeping? Right? Or if you sleep for an hour, 30 minutes, something like that, you're like, well, I slept and I feel great the next day. If you're refreshed off of 30 minutes, an hour, that kind of makes us think, impulsivity. I usually ask my patients, do you go and shop excessively? And most women, there's such thing as retail therapy. But we'll say, I love to go. And I like to shop too. It makes you feel a little bit better. But if you shop till you drop literally, like you you can't pay your bills. You have credit card debt from just going out shopping or gambling, high risk behavior like a promiscuity. This is a person you went and had sex with, and you never, like, if you were not bipolar, you'd be like, I would never be with that person. Why did I do that?
Yeah.
Inflated self-esteem, people thinking they have like special gifts or power. This is the people who, you know, they say, I'm an artist and I was up painting this mural for 4 days and I wasn't tired. I just wanted to paint this mural for 4 days.
Wow.
So increase what we call goal-directed behaviors. You're up cleaning. You're not sleeping, but you're up cleaning for 4 days. Those types of things. So it's almost everything in excess. It's almost it's just too much.
Too much.
Excessive talking, those types of things. Really, really bad mood swings. One moment to the next.
Okay.
Mood swings.
And I think that's what a lot of people associate with bipolar. Just mood swings. They're like, oh, they're bipolar.
Split personality, all of those stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more to it. Okay.
Well, going to the hood, you know, let's bring it home. Earlier you mentioned that, you know, sometimes you may see instances where you could say the medication might not, you know, you don't know. You know what I'm saying? So I did a interview, and being in the Black community, you know, I always like to hit on the fact that I suffer from depression, you know, my testimonial. And then, you know, I always, you know, sometimes I'll check the comments. Then you see some of the people in the comments, you know, oh, don't take the medication. Don't do that. You know, from your experience, I don't want you to feel like you swaying somebody from one way or the other. Do you encourage medication, or do you encourage more of a therapy?
It's a good question. So for bipolar disorder, 100% of the time, not 99, not 98, not 95%, the mainstay of treatment is medication.
Gotta have it.
Gotta have it, period.
Yes.
We're going to put you on medication because the risk, if we don't, like I said, I've seen it destroy lives, marriages, financially just destroy you with a manic episode or even a depressive episode. So 100% of the time for bipolar disorder, medication. For what we call MDD, major depression, it depends on the patient. It depends on their circumstances. And I think a little bit of this is nuanced because if you ask any clinician, we kind of all have our way of practicing. For me, I try not to recommend things that I know that my patient is not going to do or they don't want to do. I give them my best advice, and then I say, you know, but the decision is yours. Mainstay for me, anytime I see a patient, I'm almost always going to recommend psychotherapy. Okay. Almost always. But the best evidence usually says that medication with therapy is giving you your best opportunity, your best chance of what we call remission, basically depression free, right? Yeah. Some patients say, no, I don't want to take the medication. I don't want to rely or get addicted to a medication. But antidepressants are not addictive, so to speak. It's not an addiction issue. Right.
That's y'all heard that?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's not an addiction issue.
That's important to hear.
Yeah, it's not a dependence issue. It's not a anything like that. In fact, some patients, depend on the patient, if they go into remission after a year, we say, okay, you want to try off the medication, that's fine, we can try it. Okay. But if you know you need to get better and you want to get better fast, lots of patients will say, I'll do whatever it takes to get better because this is causing so much problems, right, in my marriage, in my professional life, right? Yes. Because we know depression doesn't just stay isolated to at home or even at work. It usually carries over into all these different aspects of your life. And so for me, I always say, if you want to get better faster, sooner, quicker, because therapies work. Yes. You're going to have to show up. You got homework. You got to go, right? But medication usually paired with it, sometimes it's gonna help you get better quicker and faster.
And explain to everyone what psychotherapy is? Because people hear the word psycho, and they go, "Oh, I ain't crazy."
That's a fan. Yeah, I'll use some of these. Yeah. So it's just a fancy way to say counseling.
Yeah,
it's just counseling, therapy, counselors.
Go talk to somebody. Yeah, and being in the Black community, we have all these conspiracy theories, and they think, the medication is, the government, they want to keep you medicated, I'm an advocate for it, you know what I mean? Because I haven't tried any psychotherapy or anything like that, but I feel wonderful, you know what I'm saying, with the medication, and still on it to this day, you know what I'm saying? I feel, I try to kick it, it's like I said, it's not addictive, but when you're not on it, I feel a little bit different, you know what I'm saying? So I feel great on it, you know what I mean? And it makes me go throughout my day. So, I heard you mention stress was one of the traits, but it seemed like, and then later on you kept mentioning stress. It seemed like that might be is that one of the number one
causes of depression? Well, yeah, all of us, have a breaking point. Nobody is built to never break.
Yes.
That's just, if you don't hear anything else I say, hear that, is that nobody is built to never break.
Nobody's
we come in this world, we gonna go out of this world. You're not gonna stay here forever.
Okay.
My preference is that you don't go out behind depression when there's resources and there's assistance and help.
They think the resource is God sometimes, even though.
Listen, I'm a strong proponent of your faith and whatever keeps you grounded, your family. But to go back to what you said is go talk to somebody. Let me put something on the end there. Go talk to somebody that's qualified.
Yes.
Because you have lots of people will try to give you advice, try to call themselves counselors and therapists, and they're not qualified. They're giving you an opinion.
Already.
And, that's fine if you want to pay for their opinion, but I'm paying for therapy, not your opinion.
Yes.
Trying
to get better.
Right. And if your opinion is not rooted and you're grounded in facts or evidence, then for me, I care even less what you say.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this. Do you think that, because look at our grandparents, and I do believe depression was prevalent, years and years ago. I just think we have more knowledge and information about it now. Do you think that some of the foods and stuff that we eat now can be triggering some of these? Because it's a lot of stuff in the food, you know what I mean? Unlike years ago when people grew their own food and things were more natural.
So it's a great question. Okay, so I 100% believe that depression can be associated with poor diet, lack of exercise. Matter of fact, right now in my professional setting, we've, as professionals started saying, look, we need to start writing more prescriptions for exercise, write more prescriptions for, a better diet, those types of things.
Get outside in the sun.
Yeah, get outside in the sun.
D.
Yes, those types of things. So 100%, we know that diet can influence, mood. It really can.
Wow.
Nutritional deficits, those types of things can definitely influence. We recommend like a Mediterranean diet, is what we call it first, more leafy greens, those types of things. We 100% recommend, if you have depression, try Mediterranean diet, see if that helps. So yeah, to answer your question, I think a lot of the stuff that we eat is not assisting us when it comes to depression. Not only that, when you talk about our, in our community, we're talking about blood pressure issues and diabetes and all these types of things as well. And your risk, your lifetime risk goes up for depression and anxiety whenever we have, these types of medical conditions as well.
It's interesting.
Chronic pain and those types of things, can predispose you for depression. But, a lot of that stuff comes from inflammation. If we eat an inflammatory diet, well,
That's true. Now, I do want to go back to bipolar just for a second, because we're going to do more of these segments where we just kind of highlight a certain mental health condition. I I know there is a difference between, there's two different types of bipolar, is that right? It's like bipolar 1 and 2. Can we kind of brush over the differences in those?
So 1 and 2, probably the most simplest way I can put this is 1 is full-blown mania. So those symptoms that I told you about, where you're, you're elevated, and so that you're not sleeping, right? You're not sleeping. You have lots of your impulse, all those types of things. Basically, the severity and how long that occurs. So usually 4 days and less is what we call hypomanic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything above 4 days is mania. Okay, so that's how we know you're either bipolar 1 or you're bipolar 2. Symptoms are pretty much the same, but the extent to which you're up and you're not sleeping and things like that.
Okay, gotcha. That makes sense. And then, so a lot of people are afraid to seek treatment. A lot of people are afraid because of misconceptions with side effects from medications and blah, 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 blah. What can you tell us about some of the side effects from, I know it's an array of medications out there. So, but let's just say someone's struggling with depression, okay? And they say, I'm gonna seek treatment, and they get put on medication. What are some of the side effects that are, that may say, maybe this medicine isn't for you and you need to seek another one? Or are there a lot of side effects, or is that just a myth?
So it's tough because, let me just say this. You can go to Walgreens, CVS, Walmart, any drugstore, and you can pick something off the counter that's just sitting right there on the counter. Cough syrup.
Yep.
And if you turn it over, it's got side effects to it. Whether and I don't know why we do this thing, like, oh, well, I'll just go take something over the counter. Right. Even if you go get an herbal supplement, there's not where it's no side effects. You can still have side effects. So let me just say that. So same difference. When you go pick something off the counter, equal. You can still have side effects. Now, for depression, so MDD, major depressive disorder, usually we're going to recommend what we call an SSRI or SNRI. Okay, they're usually the mainstay, first-line treatment.
What's
selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors and selective norepinephrine reuptake inhibitors. It's a long name. And basically, they work very similar, just work a little bit different on different chemicals. But both of them equally good, first-line treatment. Those medications, everybody's different. Some people get tired off the medications and some people don't get tired. Some people, it can make them sleepy. Sometimes it can make them have an increased appetite. Sometimes it doesn't increase your appetite. And everybody's different because everybody's very different. I think the biggest thing that people really worry about, and I'm just going to go straight there, especially for men, okay? Women too, but men. Is the biggest thing is sexual side effects people worry about.
Oh, libido.
A lot of men, when I get to prescribing and I start saying, okay, and there's a potential sexual side effects. You can have erectile dysfunction, a low sex drive, or low interest, or whatever.
I'm out.
Then, that's what they do. They ready, they pack up. Okay, I'm done. Nope, I don't want that.
What?
Yeah. They ready to bounce on that. But what I say is that here's the thing.
But people think with the little head instead of the big head.
Oh, Lord.
They do.
That's what I'm saying. It's like every time, it's like when I prescribe a medication, I don't do that. And I do the same thing with every patient. I don't do that just like light. Like, here's some medication, bye. I think about every single patient, risk versus benefit. If I don't do something, and by the time you come see me, it's usually for a reason. If you don't do something, what are the chances you're going to get better? Right. And how's this going to affect you if you don't get better?
That's what they need to hear.
That's the part.
Oh, yeah.
You talking about sexual side, may not be no sex. Because you got such a terrible, you got such a terrible temperament.
Oh, yeah.
That's
what happened to me.
Let's keep it up, right?
You say, hey, you're going to get it right.
Yeah, you can't lay up next to me with this old terrible attitude, that type of stuff.
Yep, I feel you on that.
So, we have that conversation.
We do.
Right.
So, have you noticed, it's probably a hard question to gauge, from your patients and from your experience, Which race do you see the most depressed?
That's a tough one because a lot of that will depend on where you work
and who's
and who. Yeah,
So that's what I'm asking right there for what you said. I would think black people would be low.
They're less. They're a lot less likely
because of what she just mentioned, not seeking treatment.
That. And here's the thing. Let me say this much about because me and Jazzy have these conversations all the time.
Yes, we do.
I get it, right? I understand why black folks traditionally are very skeptical of seeking medical and psychiatric treatment, right? Historically, it has not been that kind to us, right? We know in civil rights, people diagnosed with schizophrenia for thinking you need, people literally diagnosed with mental illness because you thought you should be equal to that of, a counterpart. Or you shouldn't be a slave, thinking you shouldn't be a slave.
Crazy.
Yeah, you out your mind. If you think you shouldn't be a slave, those types of things. All and so forth and so on. So I get it. There is a such thing of having a healthy fear, healthy being skeptical of things, and you should.
Yes.
However, at some point, you're not doing yourself any good by not seeking care.
Yes.
You're not getting any better. The best thing you can do, and I encourage everybody, is to become informed, get as much information as you can, and when you come to see your provider, you come with that information.
Yeah.
Come with questions, come with information, and that way you don't feel like it's just a one-sided decision. You have some information you can bring to the table.
Already.
And come with some real information, not just a bunch of stuff you done Googled, okay? And tell you.
And don't come with a diagnosis. Don't come in there telling me I got bipolar disorder. You'll see I have such and such. You paid your copay or you paid your cash visits to come in and get an assessment. Let that tell them what your symptoms are and how it's affecting you.
Yeah.
Right.
If you just come in with that,
right,
that helps a lot.
Yeah. Right. I'll share a bit of my story. I have my struggles in the past with depression as well. I currently take medication. That's my happy pill. I'm going to take it because, and I want to share because I think a lot of times wives and mothers and we play such a integral part in the family, and a lot of times if you're not right, it affects the family. And so for my personal I realized I was irritable, didn't have the interest in doing things that I normally like to do, like cooking and getting out doing stuff with my kids. Even when you come home from work and the kids are like, "Oh, mommy," and you're like, "Hey, babe." I was like, straight to the room, like you know what I mean? Crying spells where it's time, like things that normally wouldn't make you cry, you crying, and you're like, "What am I crying about this?" And luckily I had people like Fantasia that I could say, "Hey, I'm experiencing this, I'm experiencing that. What do you think?" You know what I mean? And was able to seek treatment, get medication, and it helped. But I think a lot of women, like, we go, and you don't take that time to assess your own. And I feel like depression can creep up on you. Before you know it, you in this funk all the time, and you
full blown.
You don't even realize when it started. So I kind of just want to encourage and let people know some of the resources or some of the things they can, because not everybody has health insurance. Not everybody. What's some of the things they can do to seek that treatment or just resources if you don't have anybody that you can reach out to?
Well, certainly in the Dallas area. Now, I can't speak for anything above, outside of Dallas, but in the Dallas area, you do have, things like Metro Care, Dallas Metro Care, Dallas MHMR, Parkland, that if you don't have the money to pay for services, because they are expensive.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of psychiatrists are cash pay.
Yeah.
Lots of therapists cash pay.
Yeah.
A lot of organizations now kind of have outreach where you can see a therapist and they'll do a sliding scale, those types of things, and it'll vary based upon where you're located. You mentioned God, right? So if you belong to a church, sometimes the churches now are realizing that depression is real.
Yeah.
Anxiety is real. These
Can't
are not
just pray
made
away.
up. Yeah, these are not, you can pray for me. That's great. I appreciate it. But now I need you to help me.
Yeah.
You know, so I think you're seeing a lot more of churches kind of come to that realization that we need to kind of give more support. So you've seen counseling centers open with people who are licensed professional counselors and those types of things. So those are resources as well.
That's awesome. Because that is a big people pray about it. You know what I mean? And I always tell people, God made medicine too.
100%.
Yeah, he
Made
did.
the doctors. Absolutely.
100%. I'm telling you, we do. Does it even sound right to say, well, pray about that breast cancer? Just pray. Don't worry about this chemo. Don't worry about this mastectomy.
Well, you got some people that don't.
Radiation.
You got some people like that won't go to the doctor,
Mm-hmm.
don't believe in medicine,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why I'm adamant about doing this segment, because if I know I can't help everybody, I know we can't help everybody, but if we can affect just one person and help that person and get them turned around, if y'all want to, hit our comment section and it's anonymous, you know what I'm saying? Hit the comment section with questions and things like that. We will get back to you. We just want to help the community. That's basically it. We're not pushy. We're not preachy. We just want to do our part. You know what I mean? And I appreciate you.
Well, I have one more question.
Oh, hit them.
What do you think are there any supplements or vitamin supplements that people can take that do kind of help increase those feel good neurotransmitters?
Marijuana?
Not that one.
just
I
saying.
could go. That
Well,
could
that's
be a
medical.
whole nother show.
Yeah, we can do a
I
whole
just said
nother
medical.
show on
Just
that
asking.
one.
We could do a whole nother show.
Just asking. Because, people do think that.
Mm-hmm.
I can smoke a little bit for my depression.
Listen, I'm gonna tell y'all something. I'm one of those people. I'm not one of those people that just say this is 100% wrong. We shouldn't do the whatever. Like, we know, like, if you have a seizure disorder, we know certain strains of marijuana help people who have seizures and things like that. Glaucoma, these types of things. What I will say is I have seen a lot, and when I say a lot of folks now coming through who are depressed and anxious, and I've even seen people psychotic, literally have a psychotic break on marijuana they got from somewhere. The marijuana that we're using today ain't the marijuana we used to use.
This ain't your granny's
I didn't know you was going there. I was about to go there.
Yeah, this is so several times stronger.
Yes.
People are lacing stuff with the marijuana. You don't know what. I literally saw every week. I see every day. I'm like, well, there's another. People
too high.
Literally, I was like, what else could have happened? This surely marijuana is not doing all of this.
And do you think on that note, because a lot of people say, oh, there's nothing wrong with marijuana. It's natural. It
was.
But the younger, I feel like, when you're young and then you're taking on a substance that's affecting your developing brain, have you seen, children an increase in mental health episodes, whether it's depression or otherwise, from marijuana?
100%.
Wow.
100%.
Ooh, that's interesting.
100%.
That's very interesting.
And as you alluded to, when you're talking about a brain that's not even fully formed, that's still developing, that's probably one of the most dangerous times that you could be using marijuana, because you literally, that developing brain is so sensitive. Lowering IQ level. I'm talking about there's so much that's happening in that developing brain. And then when you're talking about depression, I've seen lots of kids that come in, adolescents, they come in, they started smoking weed or whatever, and they're now literally clinically depressed.
Wow.
They're clinically depressed behind it.
They're starting way too young.
Starting way too young. And some things that kids don't understand is moderation either, right?
Oh, yeah.
You know, when they go in, they're going in 100%.
They going in,
right?
Especially these youngsters nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, they like just going in, just going in and having a good every day, all day long.
Oh yeah,
you know,
I'm not high enough.
Wow,
I'm telling you, I've seen a lot. So I say with parents in particular, your child, that's one thing about it, because depression looks different sometimes for adolescents. Sometimes their symptoms are just irritable. They just got a bad attitude. Now, you know, adolescents can have that anyway.
Come on now.
But if your kid is isolated, you used to have an outgoing kid. They used to be fun and happy, and they were, you know, outgoing, and now they won't come out of their room. They got a nasty attitude. They dressed in black with black fingernail polish, wearing sunshades, don't want to be around anybody, terrible grades, those types of things. Start asking questions.
Pull out the drug test.
Yeah, start asking questions.
For real.
Start asking questions. Because our adolescents are going through it right now. School is not the way it used to be. And we're built different. When I say, and I'm not going to get on my soapbox about this generation, but, you know, we grew up in the... when we say, listen, everybody was bullied. I got bullied. You got everybody was bullied. Somebody, man, you fat, you ugly, you this, you're that.
You better have a strong comeback.
Right.
Your mom.
You had that. That's the 100% go to right there.
Yeah.
Your mama, you better be ready to fight after that one.
That's it. You know, but
she looking at me.
Yeah.
They talking about me.
Everything.
What's the one you say, baby?
Bullying, everything.
That's inappropriate.
Oh yeah,
everything's
offensive.
That's offensive.
Yeah, everything's offensive.
Everything's offensive.
We're not building our kid. When we say you're not built like that, or I'm built for it, that insinuates that you probably weren't born with it.
Yes.
And we got to put it in you.
Yes. Yeah.
And so our job as parents is putting this stuff in our kids, so that they can take somebody saying, "Oh, you ugly," and you don't fall apart and say, "I'm gonna go kill myself."
Exactly.
Absolutely.
I score on my kids.
Self-worth out. That ain't what it means.
On a regular.
Yeah. Well, it's just if you build up their self-worth, it won't be anything that somebody else can say that's going to have them running home crying. Yeah. So I understand. You got anything you want to share with the people out there to be looking for you?
Nothing. Well, no. I mean, I do. I do a little.
Go tell them.
I do a little bit. I mean, I do some consulting. So I do some psychiatric consulting. I have a skin line that a skincare product that I just came out with.
Let's talk about that. Tell them about your skincare.
It's called Robbie Lura Naturals. So we talk about chemicals all the time and the stuff that we're putting in stuff. We really don't even know how this stuff is affecting us. So I'm a strong proponent of using as natural as stuff you can. Yes. So I have a hygiene spray and then a skincare cream that we have.
And I love the cream. So tell them how they can find your skincare line.
So we have a Shopify site, Robbie Lura Naturals.
Spell that for me.
RaviLuranaturals. Robbie Lura Naturals.
Man, well, we sure appreciate you coming, Fantasia.
Oh,
you are super tight.
Can I give two more for the women?
Absolutely, girl.
For depression, because that's going to bother me if I don't say this for women.
Say it, girl.
Okay. Because I know we say a lot of times I ain't got time to be depressed. I got too much to do to be depressed.
That part.
But some other forms of depression I want women to kind of be aware of is postpartum depression. That's something unique to women.
Yes.
So I want any woman, if you had a baby recently, or even what we call it's really peripartum, so it can actually be onset in pregnancy.
And let's also let people know that the postpartum period, can last up to 2 years after.
It can, and even a year after you can, because here's the thing. A lot of the times, women feel the weight of motherhood. And this little human is dependent on you for everything. That's a lot.
Yes.
But sometimes you're scared to say, I don't know how to do this.
Right.
And you have parents now that may not have learned how to do it, and they can't teach the next generation how to do it. You know? So I wanted to draw attention to that. Don't ever be afraid. If you just had a baby, or you even when you get pregnant, you start feeling depressed, talk to your OBGYN. Go find a mental health professional, okay, so you can talk to them about it. The other one is PMDD, menstrual dysphoric disorder.
Yes.
And so that's something only particular to women as well. Okay. At some point, people thought, oh, it's not a real thing. It's absolutely real.
Yes, it is.
It's like PMS on steroids. Okay. You know, if your husband go hide and your kids go hide from you when it's getting ready to be your time.
Oh, what she got?
She might have, you know, she might. So
that's what it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you for telling me.
Yeah. So I also want to say this too. MDD, major depression disorder with psychosis. Okay. The reason why I want to hyper focus in on that is sometimes you can become so depressed that you start seeing and hearing things that you know. And so people will say, oh, maybe he's schizophrenic. Maybe he's got some. If you start to see or hear things, go to a mental health professional.
Yes.
Okay.
Off top.
Yes, and don't be embarrassed.
Don't be embarrassed.
Don't feel like people are going to judge you, because this is your health. You know what I mean? And a lot of the stuff, a lot of mental health conditions are treatable with therapy and medications, like you said. And you know what I mean? It's a brighter side, so you don't have to be suffering alone.
Let me say this about medications and stuff too, okay? Because I have a lot of patients who say, I want to go and I want to try what was it, ashwagandha or something. Let's say, I'm going to go get some ashwagandha for my anxiety. Okay, that's fine. I meet people where they're at. You can try the ashwagandha. But if you're so scared that you can't go outside, you can't go to the grocery store because you have a panic attack going to the grocery store. You panicking because you can't go over a bridge. You can't drive over a bridge. Ashwagandha probably ain't going to get it done.
It ain't going to get it done.
Okay.
So sometimes I just want to say this, like, it's okay to try things naturally, but still check in with a healthcare provider, because we all can't always take something natural too, because again, those have side effects. They can, interfere with medications you're taking. They, so even if you say, I'm going to go it alone and do something over the counter, just please allow yourself to get the best care possible. At least go get the opinion of somebody else.
Amen.
I know y'all going to come for us in the comment. But that's cool. You got some negative people out there that don't like it. Yeah, I don't. We could care less. We trying to, like I say, move the needle.
You're not our target audience.
Yes.
All right.
Amen.
We ain't talking to you.
Yeah. We ain't talking to you. Unsubscribe.
Matter of fact, we might be talking to you. Maybe
you might be the one.
You might need to go on and see somebody.
You might be
Your
the
attitude
one.
terrible.
You might be the one.
Absolutely. You got some shout outs?
Shout out to my husband.
Already.
Vincent.
Hey,
I love him.
Already.
My two kiddos.
You better shout out to him. You see how she lit up when she said that?
Yeah.
I hope y'all have some stuff about black marriages and stuff, child.
We are.
We're gonna have to have both of y'all on for that.
Come on.
Because black love is real.
Black love is real. Well, I appreciate you coming out again. This is a real serious subject that we want to continue to touch on periodically. I don't want, like I say, we don't want to get too preachy. We want to make it fun. You know what I mean? And educational for y'all. The word ignorant is an ugly sounding word, but it just means that you don't know. And we just want to not let you stay ignorant. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
You want to, like I said, keep moving that needle in a positive direction. And once again, I want to thank you, Miss Fantasia.
Thank you.
You are a super tight family member.
Thank you, Bobo and Jazzy K.
No, I'ma get some game tuned in with super tight, yeah. I get it all up from Big Bobo, from the front seat, not no photos.